Hello, hello. How are we? Happy Monday afternoon, my friends. So this is Facebook Live number 2 for me today. Some of you joined me earlier where I unboxed the Jesse James Bead Summer Camp Bag O' Fun, and that's not an exaggeration. That's pretty serious. Like it was seriously packed full of good stuff. So those of you who came to hang out with me earlier, I appreciate it. It was fun. It was really cool to get to go through the bag and see all of the fun stuff that is inside of it. And now I actually over here next to me, I am working on one of the projects. So I'm kind of finishing up a little bit and hoping to get you guys a really good materials list going within the next day or two for some of those projects that are going to be included in the Jesse James Bead Summer Camp. So just a quick note on that. Today's your last day to sign up. If you have not signed up yet, you need to go ahead and do so. And there are only a handful of spots left now. There were 15 at 3 o'clock this afternoon Eastern time. There is way less than that now. So just be aware that if you haven't signed up now, now's your chance. Because at the end of the day today, you won't be able to sign up. And tomorrow, all the goodies get shipped out. So thank you guys for rolling in here and joining me. I hope you're enjoying it here with me, to do our Maker Monday series a little bit early today. We normally do 7 o'clock, but today we are doing 5 o'clock, which I'm okay with. How about you guys? How are you feeling about it? I hope you're okay. You're here. Okay, so a couple of things to touch base on before we get down to the project. We're going to make a beautiful necklace. These beads are absolutely stunning. But just a couple of housekeeping things. We have 20% off red and purple beads right now over on Jesse James Bead's website. And the coupon code for that is Sonoma. And speaking of Sonoma, that just happens to be the name of the bead mix that we're going to be using tonight in our project. Also, I want to just kind of, let's see, I want to take a little look-see. Hold on. I wanted to see if the weekly deals had refreshed, but my computer is lagging. So, don't know about that, but I do know for sure about the 20% off of the purple and red. And there is still free shipping going on with 139 carts. So you guys, that still includes the Jesse James Bead Summer Camp. So if you have not signed up, take advantage of the free shipping for that. So a lot of you guys know that Sarah is on a road trip out west. She is winding her way around the West Coast and taking in the sights. And as she is doing that, she is sending her inspiration back to the bead team, who are putting together the most amazing bead mixes that are inspired by all of the wonderful things that Sarah is seeing over on the West Coast. And we have, so far, we've gotten to enjoy Grass Valley in a green and kind of tans and blues browns mix. And then we worked with the Redwoods mix, which was really awesome. That was a really fun project that we did on Friday night. And today is Sonoma. And you guys, this is like all three of the bead mixes are so pretty. But this one, it has red in it. So of course it's a favorite of mine, right? I mean, and it's not like red, but it's like, you know, red wine red. As it should be. It's Sonoma, right? So definitely add that to your cart too while you are shopping on your summer camp spot. And the pink and purple, was it pink and purple or red or purple? Red and purple. Hold on. Red and purple, not pink and purple. I knew I had that wrong. All right, so we're going to put together a necklace, and we're using the Sonoma bead mix as well as some chain reaction. I have cut some chain reaction up, and I picked a chain reaction that goes with this bead mix. Just in case you don't have this particular chain reaction, I made sure that there are several other chain reactions in the same kind of color family that are going to work. So don't get discouraged if you don't have this exact same chain reaction. It has red beads in it, but a purple or even one of those beautiful amber colors, like there's a lot of chain reaction that'll go with this. So you don't have to have the exact chain reaction, but you do need the beads to create this awesome one. All right. Tina said, almost missed this. Good thing I got frustrated making a bracelet and put it down. Yes, that is a sure sign that you need a break, and what better place to break than with us, right? We're fun. We're fun. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. So let's get right on down to business with this bead mix because it's so stinking pretty. Excuse me. Look how gorgeous. Okay, first of all, look at these. So these are just kind of telling me right off the bat that they want to be earrings. Isn't it funny how that happens? They're like, please make earrings out of us. In fact, please make earrings out of us and add these gorgeous tassels. Because, I mean, right? They're just meant to go together. They're just meant to go together. But that's not the only awesome stuff that's in here. So there is this gorgeous bead that we're going to use as the center of our necklace. And it has like this crazy rainbow to it that is not necessarily like rainbow, but it does have flashes of several colors. It's like purple and green and gold and copper, and oh, it's just really, really good. And like there's blue, and it's like it's tricky. I don't know what you call that color way, but I'm feeling it. These drop beads are to die for. You'll notice that one of ours already has a little wire wrap going on. That's just kind of a little hint as to what we're going to be doing with these, but yep, there are several of these little guys in here. Oh, there's another one with a wire wrap. We're going to use all 4 of those in our necklace as some great drops. There are some beautiful rondelles in here in the most rich reds ever, which I absolutely love. Like, I'm not a Crayola red kind of person. That's not necessarily true. I love all red. All red is good red, but like the deeper the red, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And then you've got your pops of purple in here, so you definitely have that kind of grapes, right? Grapes and wine feeling all through this. You've got purple. There are some beautiful light blues in here, and these kind of grape greens running all through. This is just a really beautiful, beautiful mix. And the lava beads, which I love. I kind of hoard my lava beads. I don't know what you guys do with yours, but I save mine up. And, you know, I have like a little stash. I haven't done anything with them. I just like to keep them all together. I'm such a weirdo with beads. Are you guys like that? Is there just like a certain bead that you as soon as you see it, you grab it and then you just hold on to it, but you don't necessarily use it? I do that with a lot, like particularly ceramic beads and square beads. Like I save them, and then it ends up I have a huge collection, but I don't ever do anything with them. But I like to just pull them out and look at them because I'm so weird like that. But an absolutely gorgeous mix. And then, of course, there are some amber colors in here as well. So there are a lot of different color ways you can go with this, right? Like you've got pink, purple, green, blue, gold, and like amber color, just that kind of golden. And then you've got these pops of these cute little blue beads, but they have like that shift. I just lost that guy. Where did you go? Come back. They have that kind of purple shift to them. Just a really absolutely beautiful mix as always. So grab this mix. As always, guys, these are limited edition mixes, so there are not a ton of these available. So if you want it, I definitely recommend getting it while the getting is good, because sometimes you see a mix and you think, oh, I'll wait a few days, I'll add that to my cart, and then when you come back, that mix is gone. And that's because our bead team does things in limited edition mixes, right? And that makes them extra special. So you're only one of, you know, a select amount of people that actually end up with the bead mix. So kind of Jesse James beads is always in my mind has been like beads for collectors. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I need the whole collection of something. Like when the goddess beads came out, like I had to have the whole collection. It wasn't good enough just to pick out my favorite colors. I had to collect all of them. Which probably speaks more about me and my crazy than it does anything else. But okay, so those are the beads we're going to be using for our project, and I have several pieces of wire here cut. You're going to need some 22 gauge wire for this, 20 if that's what you if that's what your preference is. Stacia says, would the bead be a Alexandrite effect? Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's pretty much the perfect way to describe this guy and these guys as well. Yeah, definitely. Alexandrite is that's just such a super cool kind of gemstone, you know? It's one of those, like, depending on the light and depending on, you know, different things that are around it is the color that it's going to flash. I love that. Super cool. All right, so 22 gauge wire. I've got about 11 pieces of this cut. You're going to need like 4 to 5 inch pieces. And then you're also going to need a longer piece that's going to be between 6 and 8 inches, just whatever you are comfortable working with for sure. And then I've got some sections of chain reaction. So I have 2 sections that are long that are 7-inch sections, and I went ahead and put a clasp on the end. So I have 2 really long pieces. That's going to be the length portion of the necklace, but then I've also cut 4 shorter sections that are about 1.5 inches long each. Okay, and if your chain reaction is different than this one, that's totally fine, and you can adjust the length, you know, just depending on where your beads are placed on the chain and like what kind of links you have in between there. So you can play with it a little bit. None of this is set in stone. Stacia says that's her birthstone. That was my sister's birthstone too. Really super pretty and very, very unique. So I feel like anybody with that birthstone kind of falls into that category. Special and unique. You guys, I'm having trouble with my microphone, so I apologize if you hear any kind of extra like ruffling stuff going on because it keeps slipping. Okay, we also are going to need about 4 head pins, and we are going to make our own head pin here in a minute, but these are for some of the smaller beads. So we're going to use some of these little rectangle beads, and I feel like they just fit better on the head pin. I feel like if I make a knotted head pin, the knot is just too big for the bottom of these beads. So you're going to need about 4 of those. Just set those to the side, and you're going to need a handful of jump rings. I'm using 6-inch jump rings for this. Excuse me, I'm not 6-inch, 6mm jump rings, but if you want to use 4, that's totally fine. Sheila has an amazing, I love answering this question. Sheila says, what is chain reaction? Oh, I have got the answer for you. And Sarah is here, so she'll be able to pop in some links for you to go straight over to the chain reaction. So chain reaction is this special chain that you can get exclusively through Jesse James Beads, and it is a beaded chain, and it comes in like so many different colors. It's unbelievable. They have a color for every mood or style. They're beaded, and then they have these really cool links in between them, and they're always like, there's all different styles as far as like the links that are between them. But really the best part of chain reaction is that, number one, the metals, like the gold color and the silver color that they use, are gorgeous. The golds are so warm, and the silvers are just so stunning. They're really, really great quality chain, and I think they come in 18 inches, and you can just pop the ring off the end of them and turn them into a necklace immediately, or you can cut them up and use them in conjunction with your favorite Jesse James beads, which is one of my favorite things to do with them. But I have a collection of chain reaction. I love it, and I use it all the time. Like whenever I have the opportunity to use chain, I always go for chain reaction just because it is so different and so pretty. Okay, so excuse me. My allergies are bothering me today. Let's get started. We're going to do some wire wrapping links first and foremost, and then we're going to kind of assemble as we go. So you guys noticed when I was talking about the beads where we have the drop beads where we have our own little knotted head pin here and a wrap loop at the top. We're going to go ahead and do that. We need to do this on one more of our little drops. And so there are 4 drops included in the mix, but we're only using 3 of these. So we just need to do a knotted head pin on one. So we're going to take one of our pieces. Let me find one of the shorter pieces here because my pieces are just kind of all over the place in length. I'm going to try to pick a short one. Okay. You really only need about 2.5 to 3 inches to do this, but I always cut way more than I need. All right, so I'm going to take the very tip of the wire and the very, very tip of my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab that wire right at the tip and I'm going to roll that wire around the tip of the pliers. Okay, so I'm just going all the way around the pliers once, and then I'm going to go all the way around a second time directly underneath that first wrap around, and then I want to stop where I see the cut section of the wire. Okay. Now, before I take this off of the tool, I want to take the wire and bend it out this direction. Okay, so it's actually bent and running underneath the 2 coils that we just created. So when you take it off of the pliers, this is how it looks. Okay, the wire you can see is going underneath those coils that direction instead of the other direction. All right, so now I want to take the tail end of this wire and I want to bend it back and stick it through the 2 coils that we created. Okay, just like this. Now I want to come in with my nylon jaw pliers and grab that wire, and I want to grab it right next to the 2 coils that we made. I want those to be sitting right up against the side of the pliers, and then I want to take a pair of pliers, grab the wire over here, right, and then pull. And when I get close, I want to pull really, really hard. That's going to create a knot that is also a really pretty kind of rosette shape here, okay? Then when I take it off, we've got our own little knotted head pin. So we are going to thread on our drop bead, and we are ready to do a wire wrap on the top. So I'm going to grab that wire right where it is exiting out of the bead with my chain nose pliers. Going to bend that wire 90 degrees, and when I take the pliers away, I've got that space there. See the space between the top of the bead and the bend in the wire? That's the perfect amount of space to come in and place your round nose pliers so that the wire is running between the barrel of the pliers, and I'm going to take that wire and go up and over the top barrel of the pliers. I'm not moving the pliers, I'm only moving the wire. Okay, now I need to take this wire that's right here over to the other side so that I can create a full loop, but I can't do that because the bottom barrel of the pliers is in the way. So in order to move those pliers out of the way, I'm just going to turn the pliers just like this. So I'm going from this position to this position. Now I can get my wire over here to the other side. Okay, so when I take it off of the tool, that's what we've got. Now you see the space in between here. That space is still really important. Put that back on the tool. I'm going to switch hands. That space we want to fill up with our wire wraps, and we can do about 3 in that space. Okay, now we want to trim off the tail. Beverly, I'm using 22 gauge German style wire. You can do it with 20 and you can do it with 24. Just know that the 20 makes a little bit bulkier of a knot, and the 24 is going to make a smaller knot. Okay, 22 is usually just what I grab for. All right, so you want to repeat that on 3 of your drops, and so you've got your drops ready to go. And now we want to just create some little beaded sections, and we are going to put all of them together. And we want wrapped loops on the tops and the bottoms of these. And I'm going to kind of lay this out to give you kind of a visual idea of where this necklace is going and how many and what drops, or I'm sorry, wire wrapped sections we need. So we're going to do that. And These guys are actually going to be these little pinch beads. I don't really know what you call them, but they have like that flat surface on 3 edges. Really, really like those. I'm going to use these as kind of the length of our little drop section here. Let's see. So I'm going to need 4 of those. So we'll have to wire wrap 2 more of those. And we are going to do these little sections just like this. Those are going to go here. This guy in the middle is going to hang a little bit longer. I'm going to adjust the light just a little bit. Okay. So we are going to have to wire wrap one of these little sections, just kind of laying everything out. That way you guys get a kind of a visual idea instead of me just like putting together beads and then throwing it all together at the end. I want you to kind of visualize where we're going here. Okay, so these are the beads that we need to wire wrap and the sections that we need to create. So this guy over here, he's ready to go. This guy, he needs this little middle section done. So I'm going to take another section of my 22 gauge wire, and I'm going to come down on that wire about 1.5 inches and bend the wire. Now we're just creating a wrapped loop here. Basically what we're doing is we are creating a wrapped loop eye pin. So I'm grabbing that wire where it is running between the barrel of the pliers, taking the wire up and over. And again, I need to roll those pliers out of the way and take the wire on over to the other side to switch hands, and then I'm going to wire wrap. I'm going to do about 3 wraps, and now I need to come in and trim off the tail. I know, Wanda says so much deep red. She loves it. I do too. I do too. I'm a huge fan. All right, so we're going to take one of these gorgeous rondelles, one of these really cool gold beads. Look at that guy. So much detail, right? And drop that down. Okay, now we need to create a wrapped loop at the top. So we're just going to follow the same steps, bending the wire, coming in with the round nose pliers, up and over, and there we go. So we've got our wrapped loop on the top and on the bottom. I feel like I need to move you guys just a little bit. So give me just a second. I'm going to adjust. Everybody hold on. Just feel like maybe the light, not real sure here. Okay, we'll try that. We'll see. Let me know. Let me know if everything looks okay. Okay. All right. So this guy's ready. This one is ready. Now we need to just wire wrap this little section. Move my little wire wraps out of the way here. Okay. So we're just going to follow the exact same steps. Grabbing the wire. Donna says, just popped in. What pretty beads you're working with. I agree with you. So these beads, for Donna and for everybody else who may just now be joining us, this is the Sonoma Bead Mix from the California Road Trip collection, available from Jesse James Beads, and it really is just an absolute beautiful mix of beads, for sure. All right, we're going to thread on one of the check glass beads. Look at how rich that color is. So beautiful. On one of the brass beads and one of the rondelles. And same thing, we just want to do a wrapped loop. We're going to go up and over. Okay, and do the wire wrap, and we've got another little beaded section ready to go. Okay, I just want to trim the tail off of that, and again, just kind of laying everything out. So we've got these guys right here. We have 2 of these that need wire wrapping, so we'll go ahead and do those. And then we will add some more beads to the end of our little chain reaction pieces. So I'm just following the same steps and not really going super slow with this. You can always ask questions if you've got them. We can always slow down, and you can always watch the replays. And just so you guys know that all of our Facebook Live projects, they get moved over to the Jessie James Beads YouTube channel. So if you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I highly, highly recommend doing that, as well as signing up for the newsletter so that you're always up to date with all the fun things that are going on with Jessie James Beads. There's always something fun going on. Okay. There is that one. I know I kind of just zipped through there, but got a lot of wrapped loops to do, so I figure it's all right. It's all right. We don't have to do every single one of them super slow. Okay, we're going to do another one. Okay, up and over. And trim that off. And same thing, I'm going to do a wrapped loop. Fern says dark red and gold are so classy together. I agree. I totally agree. It's like some combinations are just like that, right? You've got red and gold, black and white. Those are just really classic, no matter what kind of combinations. And then pearl. If you add pearl to anything, it immediately makes it like super classy and dressy, at least in my opinion. All right, so we have the kind of the main structure is ready to go, but we do have our short little pieces of chain reaction, and we've got 4 of these. And although they already have gorgeous beads on the bottom, I want to add even more beads to this because more is more. I mean, that's just really kind of the way I feel about it. More is more. So we're going to use 4 of these deep, deep red rectangle beads. Love these. And because these are smaller beads, we're going to use head pins for these, and I'm going to do wrapped loops, and I'm just going to wire wrap them directly to each piece of the chain reaction. So I'm going to just go ahead and start out like normal, okay? Just following the same steps. But before I do the wire wrapping, we're going to pop this on to the end of a piece of chain reaction. So I've taken the wire over to the other side. Now before I do the wire wrap, okay, pick up my piece of chain reaction. I've got a bead here and a wrapped loop. So I'm going to take the tail end of my wire, put it through that wrapped loop, and then just pop the 2 loops together. So I don't have to use a jump ring here. You can if you want to, but I like to just wrap them together, right? Just directly to each other. And then I'm just going to wire wrap. When I use these little wires, oftentimes it's easier to do this with your pliers. Okay, so we've just added an extra little bead to the end of our chain reaction piece. I'm going to trim off the tail, and I need to do that to the rest of the pieces. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Thread on. Lots and lots of wrapped loops with this project tonight, or this afternoon, depending on where you are. It is after 5 here on the East Coast, and I can tell because my stomach is starting to grumble. It's definitely dinner time. Oh no! Did you see what I did? I was chatting and I completely forgot. We need to wire wrap that to the chain reaction. So that's okay. We can do it again. Just was not paying attention to what I was doing. Okay, let's try that again. I'll have to grab another head pin. That's all right. Up and over, roll the pliers out of the way and take the wire over. Now before the wire wraps, take the tail end of that wire, pop it through the loop, and you're ready to go. Okay. Okay, and now we want to trim off. All right, we've got 2 more to go. I only have 1 head pin here. We'll go ahead and do this one, and then I'll have to grab another head pin. And then we're gonna do a little bit of stringing. I think the first thing we're gonna do though, before we actually put together the structure of the center, oh, I almost did it again, you guys. I'm going to attach all of the jump rings to this, at least most of them, before we move on to the next step. I feel like it'll just make putting everything together a little bit easier. Not that any of this is hard, it's just that there are a lot of steps and it can get confusing. So, all right, just getting all this wire wrapping out of the way. All right, let me grab 1 more head pin. Fortunately, they were right here, so didn't have to go far. And we'll do this last little rectangle bead. Got some people in Florida that are saying that it's hot. I bet it is. It's very muggy here today too. It's not necessarily hot. The temperature has been nice today, but it's sticky outside. We had thunderstorms this morning. This time of year here in Tennessee, we have a thunderstorm almost every day. Almost. And I don't mind it. I like it. Unless I'm trying to do a live. Then it can be challenging because my internet sometimes just decides that it doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, so we have all of that ready to go. Let me pull you down just a little here, and we are going to start connecting some of this together with jump rings, and some of it we're going to leave unconnected, and I do have reason for that. And some of these jump rings we may have to open and close more than once. You guys know, as a general rule, I don't like to do that, but sometimes I get a little ahead of myself and I forget what goes where, and so if it happens, it happens. I figure that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to use some 6mm jump rings, and I've opened one. I'm going to thread on one of my chain reaction pieces, okay, and I'm going to thread on one of these purple kind of pinch beads right onto that, and then I'm going to close this. And as we're attaching all of our jump rings and pieces together, it's going to be kind of messy at first until everything gets connected. That's why I say it does get a little confusing at this point, but just stick with me and I will try my best to make it all make sense. Okay, so I've thread on another jump ring to our other little purple pinch bead here, and I'm going to thread on this guy and another purple bead. Okay, so our jump ring is holding together a lot of things here. Okay, I'm going to close that back. When you're looking at it, this is what we've got so far. Okay, and I do have to just lay it down here and there so that I can open and close the other jump rings as we go. Okay, now we want to attach another jump ring. Okay, and we're going to thread on our middle little section, another purple bead, and we are going to close that back. Okay. So far, this is what we've got. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense just yet, but it will. I promise, I promise. Okay, another jump ring onto our little purple bead, threading on this guy, and another purple bead. That's our last little purple bead in this row. Close that back. And on the end of our purple bead, I'm going to thread another jump ring and a piece of the chain reaction. All of this other stuff we haven't attached just yet, but we're getting there. Okay, so there's this jump ring, whoops, and a chain reaction section. Okay. All right, now we need to make our dangles here in the middle a little longer, right? And we still have other pieces of chain reaction. So we've only used 2 of our short sections of chain reaction so far. And those are actually going to attach to the necklace in a completely different place. Whoops. All right, so starting here in the center, and it's tiered here in the center. So this center section is a bit longer, right, than the others. And our drop down here on the bottom, oops. Okay. And we've got our 2 drops left here to hang. And then I'll lay this out a little bit flatter so you can kind of get an idea of what it's supposed to look like. It just kind of looks like spider legs at the moment. Not really making a lot of sense as it lays here. Okay, so here's what we've got. Let me try to lay everything down. So once you get everything connected with the jump rings, now when you lay it down, makes a little bit more sense. Okay, now we do have 2 extra pieces of chain reaction. We're going to attach these to a wire wrapped section that's going to go right here on the top. We haven't gotten quite there yet. And before I do anything else, I want to add 2 more jump rings to the ends. So there's a jump ring on either end that has our chain reaction on it, and I just want another jump ring that's going to be kind of our step up jump ring. It's going to sit a little bit higher. It's going to be the one that we actually thread onto things, and that will make a whole lot more sense here in just a second, I promise. Lots and lots of links here. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Now, we needed a longer piece of our 22 gauge wire. Remember, we needed a about a 6 to an 8-inch piece, just depending on what you're comfortable with using. We're going to come down on it, and just like all of our other ones, we're going to do a wrapped loop. So just like all of our other little beaded sections, we're just going to do the same thing, up and over with the round nose pliers. Take the wire around, over, and then wire wrap. Okay, now we're going to thread on some beads, and we are also going to thread on our little beaded section as well. So let me show you the pattern for that. So we're ready to go. We've got a wrap loop on one end that's going to keep all of our beads in place. Okay, we're going to thread on one of these guys. It's one of my top 10 favorite bead shapes. It's just such an interesting kind of bead shape. Okay, so we thread on one of those. We're going to thread on one of these little kind of purple green beads. Okay, now we're going to thread on that top jump ring that we just added. Remember the one I told you that was kind of our step up? If I can get it on there. Okay, we're going to thread that guy on, and we want to thread another one of those little tiny round beads, and let me show you what you want. Okay, we want those 2 beads to touch, and you see the jump ring? I don't want the jump ring to touch the 22 gauge wire. Okay, I want those 2 beads to kiss each other in the middle of that jump ring, so that jump ring is not actually touching the wire. Now, as you're threading things on, then, you know, definitely things are going to move, but before you finish and create that last wrapped loop on the other end, you want to make sure that your jump ring is not doing this. See that? I don't want that. I want the 2 beads to be touching and the jump ring to not be touching anything except the beads. Okay. All right, so let's see, I think I may have thread on our little beaded piece the wrong direction, which initially is probably not going to make that big of a deal, but I want to be sure that I want everything to hang the right direction, so I kind of have to hold everything up and give it a once over before I move on. Okay, now we're going to thread on some more beads. So I'm going to thread on another one of these really cool kind of disc shaped beads, right? So that's what we've got so far. And I'm going to thread on a bead cap, 2 of these really beautiful kind of sky, not really sky blue, they're like a fog blue, or they just have that very subtle whisper of blue to them. They're really beautiful. I'm not quite sure what color you would call that, but it's a very airy blue color. Another one of the bead caps, and then this gorgeous kind of twisted coin shaped bead with all the facets and the amazing colors. And now we're just going to repeat that process. So another bead cap, 2 of these beautiful blues. Okay, another bead cap. One of the disc-shaped beads. Okay, and another one of these little round beads. And now it's time to thread on the jump ring on the opposite end of our little chain and bead thing here. And right now it looks kind of crazy, but we'll make it all make sense here in just a second. And we've got one more of the little beads and one of the disc beads. Okay, so now want to again make sure that the jump rings are not sitting on the wire, okay? That the beads between the jump rings are touching each other. Okay, so before we do the wrapped loop, when we lay this all out, that's what we're going to have. Okay, now we want to do a wrapped loop on the end, just to connect everything together. Now, if you wanted to do this with bead stringing wire instead of the German style wire, you absolutely could do that. I just kind of like the structure that the German style wire gives. If you want more of a drape though, you definitely could use bead stringing wire instead and just do some crimping instead of wrapped loops. Okay. All right, so now can lay this out, and I can also really kind of deepen the curve here, right? Can deepen that curve, or I can make it as shallow of a curve as I want. It's really, you know, that's the fun part of having the wire in the center, is that you can really kind of, you know, shape it however you want to shape it. All right, so I haven't forgotten about these 2 chain reaction pieces, and we do have other chain reaction. So we're ready to just assemble, and we're just going to use simple jump rings and our 2 sections of chain reaction, and I'm going to attach them all together with this jump ring. So I'm going to open the jump ring. I'm going to thread on one of the wrapped loops on one section of our little centerpiece here. Okay, I'm going to thread on a chain reaction short piece, right? And then our chain reaction long piece that's actually going to serve as the length of our necklace. Okay, and I'm just going to repeat that over here on the other side, and then that'll be it. I will put this on the bust though so you can really see it, because it's definitely better to look at when it isn't laying flat. I still feel like it kind of just looks like a mess a little bit. So our jump ring on the other side, our short chain reaction piece, and then our long chain reaction piece. And of course, on either end of the chain reaction, I have already attached a clasp. So it is ready to go. And let me lay it out just like so, so you can really get an idea of what it's going to look like once we put it on the bust. So I know this was a lot of steps, but it was really just very repetitive things. We created wrapped loops, and there were several of those, so it's really good practice for working on your wrapped loops. And then we just connected everything with a series of jump rings, and if you need work on opening and closing your jump rings, this is a great piece to practice that as well. And you do kind of see where you have the opportunity when you use jump rings to connect things, where you have opportunities to hang extra things. You could have left off these pieces of the chain reaction if you wanted to, but I feel like it really just kind of balanced it out more to add the extra pieces of the chain reaction. And honestly, you could add even more in the sections in between here. For each one of these jump rings, you could have 2 more pieces of chain reaction on either side of your beaded section. So you could really make this a very full kind of bib style necklace if you wanted to. All right, so let me put this on a bust, and then I'll turn you around so you can see what it looks like actually hanging. And then we will say our goodbyes for the day. And of course, you guys know this won't be the last time that you see me this week. You can catch me again several times this week, actually. All right, I'll just lay everything out for you guys. Thank you, Jane. All right, let me turn you around. Well, it would help if you were looking at me, wouldn't it? Sorry about that. Forgot to push the right button. All right, so give you a good look here at what it looks like on the bust. And you can see, this is the structure here, and you can bend that, you know, to kind of deepen up the arch shape here, that U shape if you wanted to. You could add even more beads on this lower section and come out further if you wanted to. So you've got a lot of different options when it comes to this. You could definitely add more of the chain reaction, like I said before, in between there if you wanted to. You could even double this up and do chain reaction, you know, a double strand of chain reaction if you wanted. Yeah, a lot of different things that you can do. And you can take all of the smaller techniques that are here and of course turn those into earrings. So, you know, one of the little drop sections would make a really pretty pair of earrings. An extra piece of your leftover chain reaction would be a gorgeous pair of earrings. Just add the ear wire to it and you've got a matching set. So there you go, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this project. I thought it was a really, really pretty necklace. I know there were a lot of steps, but it's just a lot really of just the same repetitive techniques. And I feel like it really kind of shows off all of the colors that are in that gorgeous Sonoma mix. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, so that is it. Thank you guys. I'm glad you liked it. I really, really am. You know, you never know when it comes to necklaces. Necklaces take a little bit longer to do for Facebook Lives, and they can be confusing when you're just watching like the different steps. Sometimes it doesn't translate very well on a live video. So I hope that I was clear enough, and I hope that, you know, you guys are able to go back and watch the replays again if you needed help with any of the steps. But also, don't forget that you can always reach out to me and ask me questions if you've got them. Send me a Facebook message. If you can't get to me, send Jessie James Beads a Facebook message, and they always pass the messages or questions along to me as well. So you can get to me one way or another. I'm not hiding from you, I promise. I don't bite, and I'm more than happy to help you if you've got any questions. Don't forget, you've got 20% off on red and purple, and the code for that is Sonoma. Just want to be sure that yes, I do get that right. And don't forget to check out the bead mix. It's a gorgeous one, and it is number 3 in our California road trip series of beads. So if you've not had the opportunity to check out the others, you definitely want to check those out as well. And don't forget, this is your last chance to sign up for Jessie James Bead Summer Camp. So if you're interested in doing that, now is the time, because all of those kits of goodies that I have right here, these all ship out tomorrow. So if you've waited until the last minute, don't wait any longer, because you are going to miss out. There are only a couple of spots left, and I would hate for you to really want to come and miss out on grabbing your spot. So, all right, guys, have an amazing rest of the day. Enjoy your evening and afternoon. You can catch me on Dress It Up. That is the sister company to Jessie James Bead. You can catch me on Wednesday at 1 p.m. with a fun Dress It Up buttons craft project. You can also catch me again Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on Jessie James Beads with another fun project and more fun beads for you guys. So I will see you again very, very soon. Bye, guys.